First, though, as always, stock of the day. Vulcan Energy. It's had some encouraging news for shareholders this morning, saying it's in discussion with local stakeholders to expand operations at its geothermal renewable energy plant. This as it aims to become the world's first net zero emissions integrated lithium and renewable energy producer. So it says that its carbon lithium project in Germany is on track for commissioning of the demo project in the middle of this year, and shares are up off the back of that. I think last I checked, 6.2%. So what do our experts think? Luke Winchester, over to you.
Yeah, look, you nailed all the buzzwords there, Nadine. You look at a presentation from these guys and they hit on basically everything the market wants to see right now. You know, that lithium trend with the demand from EVs. It's also zero carbon lithium, tying right into those ESG themes. So it's no wonder, we'll bring up the longer chart in a second. This has been a massive winner over the last couple of years. Now, it's a bit of a battleground stock too. There was a short report put out a while back, which I think was actually run back, but it highlighted a few question marks, probably around, the difficulty of what these guys want to do. On the surface, it sounds really interesting, and the processes and the technologies they want to use, if it all works, could lead to maybe even a bit of a paradigm shift in the way lithium's extracted. They're talking about like 50% cheaper extraction costs compared to the current processes on average. But there's a lot of hurdles along that way. And to be fair to the company, they highlight them too. You look at their half-year presentation, there's a whole slide about the risks facing this business. And a large part of it is this is not a simple process. This isn't digging iron ore up out of the ground and shipping it to China. There's some really complex chemistry that goes into what they want to do. That complexity is also exacerbated by the fact there's a geothermal mine tied to it, which has its own operational risks as well. But that being said, they've done all the things you want to see them do as far as a potential producer of lithium. They've scoped out their study. They've got some offtake agreements with some large auto producers. So they're ticking all the boxes, and today's announcement is just another one of those. You've got the demo plan in place. For me, look, I always sit on the sideline with stocks like this when they're so, like I call them battleground stocks, where you have some people who really question it. You have some true believers. I always tend to sit on the sideline. If you're there, you probably continue to hold it. I don't think the business has done anything that would, warrant you to sell it if you've already bought it at some point in the past. For someone new to the story, I'd probably just hold off. It's priced quite richly, even compared to the net present value of the studies they've currently got out. So the market's either assuming higher lithium prices, which may happen, or they're able to drill further and find deeper resources than what's currently estimated. So I'd say a hold for the program.
Thank you. Over to you, Claude.
Well, I guess I wanted to take a slightly different angle. I sort of agree with Luke's assessment of the fundamentals of it, but I think you've got to separate. Look, I actually started my interest in the ASX back when there was a ton of geothermal companies on the ASX that were getting government funding, and there was a lot of excitement about that. And I got sucked into some of that, and I lost some money. First I bought, it went up, and then it eventually went all the way back down. Now, I'm not saying these guys are going to go to zero, but I do think you have to separate out the fact that it's kind of a cool story and that it'd be nice to have zero carbon lithium production. You got to separate that out from the actual valuation of the company, and by which I mean like the value of the future cash flows that shareholders will eventually get after all of the capex and dilution that's necessary for that is done to actually get it up and running. And I think that I'll refer to the guy Joe Lowry that was quoted in the AFR, who said quite some time ago now, at a lower share price, I view Vulcan as a modern day tulip bulb investment, great marketing, low on substance. Now, I don't know if that's completely true, but I just wanted to zoom in on half of that statement, which is the marketing aspect. Like, you have to be, as an investor, cognizant, in my view, of what the sociology is going on with your stocks. And the sociology that's going on around Vulcan is absolutely remarkable, okay? So this is an absolute retail fan favorite stock. On Hot Copper, there's a VUL mega thread that has purportedly 1.8 million views on it, whereas the most popular thread on CSL has about 6K views. Vulcan has a Twitter account and tweets multiple times a day quite often. whereas Fortescue, a very established market, tweets about 3 times a month. You have Motley Fool's covered Vulcan 19 times so far this year, this calendar year, just, since January, on their free website, which works out as an article about once every 4 days. Now, the reason that they'll be doing that, and I know because I used to work there, is that's because it's getting the clicks, it's getting the interest. There's a lot of retail readers that really they're Googling Vulcan every day, and every Vulcan article has, a horde of readers that are sharing it and all that sort of stuff. By contrast, Bapcor, which is $1 billion bigger, pays dividends and is profitable, it's had 12 articles on their website this year. So even though it's so much of a better, more established company, it's got so fewer people interested in it. And, the next stock we're going to talk about, which is also in energy, it has had one article written about it. So I think what I'm getting here is if you then go and read the article written by Michael Rodden of the AFR called Vulcan Energy Revels in Online Disinformation, that'll give you a little bit of background about how a company builds this mass retail following, which then pushes up the share price. And they do that, I'm not even going to get into it now, but I've written about S3 Consortium before on my website. So look, basically you just have to play with caution. Whether or not this is a great business in the end that succeeds and becomes profitable, that's one question. The other question is, how did the share price get to where it is today, and what's going to drive it from here? And in my view, the biggest factor is just these retail followers, and they can last a very, very long time. But if you're like the last additional retail holder that jumps on, and there's no more people that are willing to believe in this story, then you're going to have a bad ride after that if it doesn't live up to what are extremely optimistic expectations. So for me, I would actually have to say, look, if you're in it, I don't want to get in the way of you and your speculating and stuff, but I would say don't go all in. Don't think it's a safe investment. It's not a safe investment. I would advise you to have fun trading it, but make sure that you make a profit if you're in a position to do that. And don't go all in.
It's an avoid for you, though. So that is what we'll leave that one with. Vulcan Energy.